Welcome back to IT Toots, the channel where I teach you how to IT too. In today's tutorial, we're going to be installing Splunk Enterprise on Linux CentOS OS. These steps will also work with Red Hat distribution as well. The lab environment we'll be using is a Windows 10 virtual machine with 2 cores, 2 gig RAM and 30 gig hard drive. And we'll be installing Splunk on a CentOS 8 virtual machine with 2 cores, 2 gig RAM and 30 gig hard drive. High level, what we'll be covering today is downloading Splunk, preparing the OS as per Splunk best practices, installing Splunk using the RPM package. We'll then be uninstalling Splunk and installing Splunk using the TGZ file. First thing we'll do is go and download Splunk. So we just go to our Windows box and just search Splunk download in Google Chrome. Alright, once it's loaded, now if you have an account already, you'll be able to sign in. If you don't have an account, it's going to ask you to create an account before you can download. Okay, so if you have an account already, you can click here login and enter your username and password. If you do not have an account, you will need to create one before you can download. So I already have an account, so I'll just log in. Alright, so here we just click Linux, and for this tutorial we'll be using these 2 files, the RPM and the TGZ. To download, just click the pink download now button and your download will start. I've already downloaded this file, so I'm just going to cancel it. And another interesting or useful thing is to use wget. So you do have the option of, instead of downloading the file to your workstation, you can copy this command and putty in. I'm not sure on your skill level, guys. If you're not familiar with putty, let me know and I can make a video on how to, just a brief video on how to use putty, but hopefully you guys all know about this. And so here we go. So we can just run this wget command, which is wget -o and then the Splunk file from the Splunk link. And then you push enter and it's going to go off and download it. I've just cancelled it, but if you do come into an error, what you can try doing is typing in yum install wget. And what that'll do is, if you do not have the app installed, it'll download it and install it for you. Alright. Now, alternatively, if you prefer to just download the file, you can use WinSCP to copy these files across. Once again, I'm not too sure on your skill level, guys. So if you want a video on how to use wget, let me know in the comments. And basically what you'll do is just copy the files you want across. So Debian, that's for Debian distributions like Ubuntu, but we will just copy these 2 across. And they're already there, so yeah, we don't need to do anything. And there we go. So I'll remove this one. And there's our 2 installers. The first one is the RPM and then the second one is the TGZ file. So here we covered downloading just to our desktop and then copying them across to the virtual machine, and then also using the wget link if that's faster or easier for you. Okay, next up is preparing the Linux OS as per the Splunk best practices. And what this means is we have to disable transparent huge pages and also increase the open file U limits. And also as part of this tutorial, I'll be disabling SC Linux and firewall D. This is just to get Splunk working quickly. If you do know a bit about Linux and you want to configure these, be my guest. You're more than welcome to do that. But just for this tutorial, to keep it simple, we're going to be disabling those. And also, all the commands which I'll be running are available from my GitHub, IT Toots, and it's prepare Linux OS. Alright, so let's get stuck into it. So here it is here. So first command we'll do is SE status, and this just shows us what is the status of SE Linux. So we can see the first line says it is enabled. Alright, so that means we have to disable it. Now to disable it, we open this file, and then there's a SE Linux setting, and we need to change that to disabled. Alright, so it's currently enforcing, and we're just going to change this to disabled. And save and exit. And that's disabled. Now next, we are going to check the status of firewall D. And we can see it's running. Now to disable the firewall, that's two steps. First thing you do is stop. And if you run this command, we can see not running. Now, after we've stopped it, we run an additional command, disable. So what stopping does is it'll temporarily stop it, but once you reboot the machine, it will not persist. So to make it persist, we run disable command. And now it's disabled. Okay, now next we are going to disable THP. So to verify that it's running, we can confirm here we see always is in the square brackets, which means it is running. Then we just run this command. And then we can confirm after the reboot that it is disabled. And next we're going to do ulimits. So this is how to view what the current setting is. Now we can see open files. Our current setting is set to 1024. And our configuration change, we're going to change it to 65,535. Alright. So to do this, we open this file. And we go all the way down. And we're just going to chuck it in here. So grab this text and paste it in and save the file. Alright, now last step is run the reboot command. So we just copy, reboot. So reboot is done, and we now have connectivity again. So we can just log back in. Alright, so we're logged back in now, and let's just run these commands just to confirm everything is still good. So we'll confirm SE Linux is still disabled, good. And we're going to check the firewall state. Still not running, which is good. Then we check the state of THP. And copy. Now you can see that never is in the square brackets, which means it is disabled. Previously, it was always in the square bracket. And finally, we will check the ulimit. And we can see open files is now 65,535, which is what we wanted. Okay, now the OS is prepared. So the next part is installing Splunk using the RPM. Now most large enterprises will be using Red Hat Linux or CentOS, and this would probably be the most common operating systems you'll be using with Splunk. As part of this demo, I'll be installing Splunk using CentOS 8. And then these are the basic commands that we'll be running. Alright, so we'll go over to our operating system, and so the first part of the command is rpm-i. We'll just copy this, and the rest of the command is just the package name. So I put that in there, and Splunk rpm, and push enter. Okay, so that's completed. And now we'll just go back, and what is the next command? Okay, so we go into the bin directory. Alright, so we can see here we are now in the Splunk directory. And the next thing we'll run is this Splunk start. To start Splunk, and we're going to input the parameter of accept license. So at this point we're prompted to put in a username. I'm just going to use admin and enter your super secure password and confirm. Okay, so Splunk is now started. As a best practice, I like to just, because we have started it as root, so just to show you, we can see here Splunk is running as the user root. This is also not a best practice, but we will we'll change this to run as Splunk user. Now, just before I start Splunk or change it to run as the Splunk user, I just like to churn, just as a habit, I guess you could say. Now, the next command we run is here, Splunk enable boot start, and we set the user to Splunk. And that's done. Now next thing we do is just restart Splunk. So Splunk restart. Okay. Alright, so we're getting an error saying it could not kill process ID 1607. So to fix this, I'm not sure why it does this, but we just kill -9 1607. Let's try restart again. So what we can do is run the following command, ps-aux grep, and then grep for Splunk. And we're just going to kill this one, 1628. So same command, 1628. Alright, now let's see if restart will work. Here we go. I'm not sure why this has happened. Let me know in the comments if you get the same error. Yeah, I'm not too sure why that happened, but if you do get the same error, that's the steps you would take to fix that. And there you go. So Splunk is running. We can try accessing that now. There we go. And then to log in, just use your username and password that you said before. And there you go, guys. So we've just installed it. So this is the IP address of my Linux machine, just to show you. If you don't know what the IP address of your Linux machine is, you can run the following command, ifconfig, and then it's just the inet IP address that you can see there. Okay, let's okay, next we're going to remove Splunk. Now, when you're using an RPM installer, you can use the following commands. You would first stop Splunk, use the RPM-E Splunk, and then also rm rf opt Splunk to remove any leftover files. And if you're using the TGZ, you would just stop Splunk, remove the directory, and also delete the user. So we go back to here. So we're currently in the bin folder, so we can just do Splunk stop. Alright, now I'm just going to go to opt, and we're going to do rpm-e Splunk. Now, yeah, okay, so Splunk definitely is not running. Okay, that's good. And now next up, we just do rm-rf and the opt Splunk directory. There we go. So now it's gone. Okay, so we've installed and uninstalled the RPM file. Now we're going to use the Splunk TGZ install. So unlike Debian and RPM installs, the TGZ requires that the user and the group be created. And those are the commands. So we do a group add and then a user add. And then to extract the file, we just do this. Use this command tar, and then the xvzf Splunk package name, -C, and then opt. Alright, so let's get stuck into it. So I have here. So these commands might fail because I've already done it with the RPM. So there could be some leftover stuff. Okay. And yeah. And this one will probably give us an error as well. Yeah, but these are the commands you would do. Now, the next is the how we extract the file. So for this, we just go to where the file is located. For my, it's in the root directory. So we're going to do this, and then the TGZ file, and then -C, and opt. So this puts the location which we want to extract the file to. Alright, okay, so let's go to the opt Splunk bin. I think that's the next step. Yep. And then we're going to run the same command, Splunk start, and then accept the license. Once again, we're prompted for the username and password. So this is the account which will be created. Alright, so that's done. And once again, I like to chown, and then we're going to enable to run as the boot start. So I'll show you once again. Sorry, not that. So we see that Splunk is running as root. We enter this command, and then we restart Splunk. Once again, we're getting this error. Yeah, guys, leave a comment. Let me know if you get the same error or if this is just me. But yeah, the steps are ps-aux, and then we grep for Splunk, and then we just go on a killing spree and kill all these until they stop. Okay. Yeah, so just go on a killing spree. Alright, so I think now... No. Alright, so last one should be this one. So kill dash 94373. Alright, now let's restart. Okay, and so just to show you now, when we see Splunk, it's now running as the Splunk user. So Splunk D running as a Splunk user, which is another best practice. And just once again, we can, here we go, we've already got the page up and running. And we can log in. And there we go. So Splunk is running again, using the TGZ now. Okay, so we're already a bit ahead of ourselves, but yeah, so to launch Splunk, just to be clear, by default, Splunk will use HTTP. So you use HTTP :// and then the IP of your Splunk, and then : port 8000. And to log in, we just use the credentials that we configured during the install. And then yeah, voila, we now have the Splunk all-in-one or Splunk standalone server, which is perfect for your home lab environment and for learning Splunk. Next. Okay, so summary. So just a recap of what we've covered. We downloaded Splunk. We prepared the Linux OS as per the Splunk best practices. We covered the RPM and TG install methods. We removed Splunk. And we launched Splunk Web. Alright, so this is the end of the tutorial. Smash the like button if you made it to the end, and don't forget to subscribe, guys, because I have more practical tutorials coming out soon, and even better ideas for future content. So you don't want to miss any of this, so please subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.